Welcome to the Dowden Podcast. I'm your host, the official CRG, and today we are going to talk about why, as a solo entrepreneur or content creator, it is absolutely crucial for you to start using the resources around you and truly start finding ways to work smarter instead of harder in order to minimize that burnout and keep that day-to-day motivation. But before we get started, make sure to leave a like and subscribe down below. That way you don't miss any weekly episodes and posts. You can find video of this episode strictly on YouTube, but the audio everywhere else. Now, when it comes to really being a solo creator or entrepreneur, this truly is one of the hardest things that I have ever done in my life and still continue to do. Because when it comes to running a real business, really running a social media, it truly does take so much real work and so much real time. And there's so much stuff that goes on behind the scenes that a lot of people truly aren't aware of, making it very hard to, stay consistent, to keep up with that day-to-day motivation and even those posts because there's just so much to do. Hence why using those resources around you and finding ways to work smarter instead of harder is going to absolutely save you as a solo creator. Because you see, for me, when I was first getting started on my podcast and even my social media, I truly had no idea what I was doing. Like, I had no experience when it came to the video editing. I didn't know what softwares to use. I didn't know you had to have a high quality camera. Like, I literally knew nothing. And because of that, I was then spending like 8 to 9 hours every single day just trying to figure out all these things by myself. I wasn't using the resources around me. And because of that, I was then losing that motivation. I was slowly losing that consistency. And I was slowly starting to feel burnt out because I was working harder instead of working smarter. Because instead of investing into a really good software where then it could edit all of my video and audio in one platform, I would then go and use these multiple different platforms to where it genuinely would take me 12 plus hours just to edit one thing, because I was going and taking that video, right? I was putting it into another software. I was editing it, perfecting it for 6 plus hours. Then I would export that and take the audio and do the same exact thing. When in all reality, if I would have just made that initial investment, I would have just found the software where I could have done both. It would have saved me 6 or so plus hours where then I could have used it on social media for another podcast to make improvements, but because I didn't have that time management down, because I was working harder instead of smarter, it was literally throwing me into just this loophole, and I started to genuinely burn out and I wanted to stop my business. Because in all seriousness, one of the biggest things that I have learned and still continue to learn as a growing entrepreneur is that your time is worth way more than money. Now, I get it. Money does help. You need money to live in this world. But at the end of the day, there is always going to be money no matter where you go. You can always make money. You can always get more of it, but you can never get more time. You can never get that time back, especially as a solo creator. Because when you're building a business, no matter what, it is going to take hard work. It is going to take time. But when you're a solo creator, you then have to work a little bit harder because you don't have that team, because you don't have those people to rely on to go edit another video while you work on that next big thing. So as a solo creator, understanding that time management and really learning how to work smarter instead of harder truly is going to save you in the long run. So, whether you're building a business or doing social media content every single day, now is the time for you to really start to do your research, really start to use those resources. Because as entrepreneurs, we literally are going to work no matter what time it is, no matter what the situation is. There is always something that needs to be done, fixed, or improved on. But that doesn't mean that you aren't allowed to use resources in order to make it a little bit easier. So, if you're a solo creator just like me, then now's the time to go ahead and invest in that software. Start using that AI, start asking questions, because you can go ahead and cut corners just like I did. You can try and save money, you can try and do all these things, but I promise you that it's just going to hurt you in the long run, because you're just going to overwhelm yourself. You're just constantly going to keep loading things onto yourself, and you're going to lose that consistency. You're going to lose that motivation. You're going to eventually get burnt out. So start using that resources while they're available. I mean, we literally live in a time where technology is so advanced. You can literally go on any platform, AI, type in something, and it can give you a whole game. It can give you whatever you want in the matter of minutes to even hours. So start using these resources, start finding that software, start educating yourself, and start really taking control. Because as a solo creator, it is way harder. We literally go through everything. We do everything. Everything the audience sees is done by one person. So stop overwhelming yourself. Start learning time management and truly start working smarter instead of harder if you want to see that real success. But with that said, today's quote is by Dr. Cherie Carter Scott. She once said, "You have all the tools and resources you need. What you do with them is up to you." I appreciate you tuning in. You can follow us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And this is the Dowden Podcasts.